A snow-laden square bursts with life as patriotic Russians gather, their breath misting in the frigid air. The rhythmic march of soldiers echoes through the square, each step a beat of impending conflict. Cheers erupt, a wave of fervent support washing over the departing troops. Banners bearing the image of Tsar Nicholas II flutter proudly, symbols of unwavering loyalty. The air vibrates with national pride, a collective heartbeat of anticipation and duty. In the heart of winter, Russia sends its sons to war, hope and trepidation intertwined. Inside the Winter Palace, Tsar Nicholas II stands bathed in sunlight, his figure commanding and resolute. He gestures with assurance at the war maps, a picture of imperial power and unwavering confidence. His advisors listen, their faces a study in deference, mixed with barely veiled concern. Victory will be swift. Russia is invincible, the Tsar proclaims, his voice echoing with conviction. Under a gray sky, Russian soldiers trudge through trenches, their faces etched with fatigue and despair. The stark, snow-covered Eastern Front reveals signs of relentless fighting and bitter cold. Each step is a heavy burden, their weary eyes reflecting the hopelessness of war. Low morale hangs heavy in the air, a palpable weight dragging down each soldier's spirit. A meager fire flickers, fighting the encroaching cold in the cramped peasant hut. Shadows dance with the family's despair. Gaunt faces huddle around the flames, their threadbare clothes offering little comfort against the winter's bite. The air hangs heavy with the scent of damp wood and the bitter aroma of desperation. Each movement is slow, deliberate, as they ration the last scraps of food, hunger gnawing at their bellies. Shadows lengthen on the rough walls, mirroring the anxiety etched deeply on each weary face. I worry for our son at the front. I pray he is safe and warm, the mother whispers, her voice thin as the smoke. A frigid street Petersburg winter day dawns on a city gripped by desperation. A breadline snakes through the city, a testament to hunger and despair. Faces etched with cold and hunger, people wait in silence. The air hangs heavy with the breath of the shivering and the scent of want. Desperation simmers beneath the surface, threatening to boil over. Fluorescent lights hum over a sterile government office. Mahogany table dominates, laden with reports and data sheets. Government officials, a mix of ages and experience, sit around the table, their faces etched with concern. The air hangs heavy with unspoken anxieties, a palpable tension gripping the room. Each official subtly adjusts, betraying the weight of the situation. Reports scatter across the table, silent witnesses to the unfolding crisis. A palpable unease settles, promising difficult decisions ahead. Inside the Winter Palace, Tsar Nicholas II, in regal attire, surveys the dazzling ballroom, lost in its splendor. Chandeliers blaze, casting light upon the opulent surroundings, a stark contrast to the darkness outside. The air is thick with perfume, mingling with the lilting melodies of waltzes. He seems oblivious to the suffering beyond the palace walls, captivated by the extravagance. His expression is serene, untouched by the discontent brewing in the hearts of his people. A world of illusion and detachment, where the Tsar dances on the edge of a precipice. Explosions tear the earth as gunfire echoes across the Eastern Front. Spring is marred by chaos and destruction. Russian soldiers, in tattered uniforms, retreat in disarray, their lines broken by the relentless assault. The desolate ground is scarred with craters, a grim testament to the brutal clash of armies. Smoke billows, obscuring the fallen, a landscape of despair under the clouded sky of war. A chaotic military hospital overflows with wounded soldiers, their cries echoing through the crowded wards. Doctors and nurses struggle tirelessly, their faces etched with exhaustion amidst the suffering. Bandages soaked with blood litter the floor, a grim testament to the relentless battle raging outside. The air is thick with the smell of antiseptic and despair as life hangs precariously in the balance. Street Petersburg roils with unrest, a city on the brink as spring breathes life into simmering discontent. A cacophony of voices rises, the collective roar of a people demanding change in the heart of the city. Protests surge like a relentless tide, each wave crashing against the ornate facades of imperial power. Faces, a sea of defiance, reflect hunger and despair, their eyes burning with a fierce, unyielding hope. Banners snap in the wind, their stark messages of bread and peace, a challenge to the gilded skyline. The room is cramped, a single bulb casting harsh shadows on worn faces. Smoke hangs heavy, a suffocating blanket. The air smells of stale beer and desperation, a pungent mix that clings to the threadbare furniture. Workers huddle, their faces etched with worry. A silent language of shared hardship. Hushed tones fill the room, punctuated by angry gestures. A brewing storm of discontent. Each flicker of the bare bulb seems to amplify their fears, their hopes dwindling in the dim light. Determination hardens their features, a fragile shield against the crushing weight of their circumstances. Inside the Duma, a storm of voices rises as members clash, their frustration palpable. Vehement gestures punctuate the air, each motion a spark in the tinderbox of dissent. Criticisms of the Tsar's leadership ricochet off the walls, sharp and unforgiving. Impassioned calls for reform echo through the chamber, a symphony of discontent. A crescendo of voices builds, threatening to shatter the facade of order. The weight of their collective anger hangs heavy, a palpable force in the room. Sunlight floods the winter palace, illuminating Tsar Nicholas II at his grand mahogany desk. The ornate room glitters with gold trim, a symbol of opulence and power. Lost in thought, the Tsar seems dismissive, his expression distant and cold. A jeweled hand gestures, a subtle sign of authority in the face of looming unrest. Under the summer sun, Street Petersburg erupts in chaos as soldiers raise their rifles, their shadows falling on the crowd. The sharp crack of gunfire shatters the air, each shot a brutal punctuation mark in the unfolding tragedy. A sea of faces contorts in fear and defiance as protesters stand against the line of soldiers. The air fills with smoke and the screams of the wounded, a symphony of despair rising from the streets. Each fallen body marks a stark testament to the brutal suppression, a grim tableau against the city's splendor. The cobblestones run red as the scene dissolves into a maelstrom of violence, hope dying with each gunshot. Flickering candlelight dances across weary faces in the dimly lit army barracks, heavy with smoke and unspoken dread. We swore an oath to the Tsar. How can we betray him now? Soldier 1 cries, his voice echoing in the tense air. Soldier 2 retorts, an oath to a Tsar who starves his people? We are fighting for nothing. The revolution, it's chaos. Soldier 3 exclaims, his eyes wide with fear. Who knows what will happen? The Tsar offers us only death. Soldier 4 says, the revolution offers a chance for a better future. Our duty is to protect our people. Another soldier shouts, not to blindly follow a tyrant. The village square bursts with a flurry of activity as peasants surge forward, armed with makeshift weapons. Generations of oppression fuel their determined faces as they swarm the landowner's property. With raw strength and united purpose, they tear down the fences, symbols of their past subjugation. A palpable mix of anger and hope fills the air as they begin to seize control. The land and resources, long denied, are now within their grasp. Each action echoes the promise of a new dawn, forged in the fires of collective defiance. Inside the opulent railway carriage, Tsar Nicholas II sits, a figure of imperial authority en route to the front. Sunlight streams through the window, illuminating the carriage's rich wood and polished brass. Nicholas gazes out at the passing landscape, a mix of determination and apprehension on his face. He adjusts his uniform, a gesture of preparation and resolve as he nears the war's grim reality. The rhythmic clatter of the train wheels underscores the weight of his decision. He is traveling to the front lines to assume personal command of the army. Candlelight flickers across Tsarina Alexandra's face, shadows painting a story of turmoil in the grand winter palace. She sits at the ornate desk, a fortress of documents surrounding her, each page a battle in the dimly lit room. Her expression is grim, a mask of determination clinging to her features as she confronts the looming night. The opulent room feels cold, the emptiness echoing the Tsarina's inner battles and solitary vigil. Rasputin stands nearby, a looming figure in the shadows, his silent presence adding to the night's tension. His eyes glint in the dim light, reflecting an unsettling mix of power and mystery in the solemn palace. Dim light paints long shadows across the sterile hospital room, heightening the tension. Rasputin looms over the Tsarina, his intense gaze burning into her very soul. His wild gestures cut through the oppressive silence, a silent promise hanging in the air. Rasputin's voice, a hypnotic drone, fills the room with an unsettling sense of power. The Tsarina watches, fear mingling with a desperate hope as she clings to Rasputin's words. Autumn in St. Petersburg, a city gripped by protests, its vibrant colors muted by unrest. Strikes paralyze the streets, a sea of faces chanting, their breath misting in the cold air. The economy grinds to a halt, markets deserted, shops shuttered, a city in silent revolt. A lone flag waves amidst the crowd, a symbol of defiance against the autumn sky. In the dim, flickering light, conspirators gather around a heavy, ornate table, their faces etched with grim determination. Shadows dance ominously on the walls, mirroring the clandestine nature of their secret meeting. The air crackles with hushed whispers, each conspirator leaning in, cloaked in secrecy. Every shadow seems to hold a secret, every face a hidden agenda. The ornate table anchors them, a silent witness to their treacherous plans. A sense of foreboding hangs heavy, promising dramatic revelations and betrayals. Opulent chandeliers cast eerie shadows across the ornate walls in Yusupov Palace. A palpable sense of foreboding permeates the grand halls, thick with anticipation. Rasputin, a figure of imposing presence, moves deeper into the palace. His eyes scan the luxurious surroundings, betraying nothing of his intent. The heavy silence amplifies the weight of the night's impending events. Shadows engulf the Winter Palace's vast hall, a chilling testament to the Tsar's unraveling empire. Tsar Nicholas and Tsarina Alexandra stand as statues, their faces mirroring shared sorrow and disbelief. Grief hangs heavy, an invisible shroud suffocating the opulent space, a prelude to revolution. The weight of Rasputin's death crushes them, the last anchor of hope now tragically severed. Their eyes reflect the fading grandeur, a silent acknowledgement of the impending storm. A dynasty teeters, the palace walls echoing with unspoken fears and inevitable change. A frozen wasteland stretches, bitter winds carving paths through the endless snow. The Russian army retreats, a sprawling mass swallowed by the wintry landscape. Each step is a struggle against the biting cold and the heavy weight of defeat. Exhaustion lines their faces, a stark map of despair etched by the relentless war. Hope dwindles as the horizon offers no respite, only the promise of more suffering. The wind howls a mournful dirge, a soundtrack to their agonizing journey. Flickering lamplight casts eerie shadows across the trench, illuminating grim faces and damp earth. A silent abandonment unfolds as soldiers, resolute, turn from war to revolution. Rifles stand forgotten against the trench wall, symbols of a cause now left behind. Hearts set on a distant hope, they leave the trenches behind, their backs to the dying war. A winter day in St. Petersburg, a multitude of faces, cocooned in furs, fills the frame. A sea of faces, a landscape of fur and frost, stretches across St. Petersburg. Banners whip and crack in the frigid wind, their colors stark against the snow. The banner's unified message roars, a demand echoing through the city. The air vibrates with tension, thick with the scent of revolution. History unfolds in real time, its weight palpable in the winter air. Inside army headquarters, the air is thick with dread as generals gather around a vast mahogany table. Their faces are etched with grim determination, a silent prelude to a momentous decision. Maps and documents litter the table, each a testament to battles fought and lost. At the head of the table stands the Tsar, his figure a study in conflicted emotions. A heavy silence hangs as the generals advise, their words a hammer blow to the Tsar's authority. The fate of a nation hangs in the balance, the room a crucible of power and sacrifice. A lone lamp casts dim light in the railway carriage, revealing Tsar Nicholas II's weary face. The rhythmic clatter of the train is the only sound as he sits at the mahogany table. He dips a pen into the inkwell, a solemn act heavy with consequence. His hand trembles slightly as he positions it above the abdication papers. Each stroke of the pen seals the fate of an empire, a silent, irreversible decision. The weight of a nation rests on his shoulders as he completes the fateful signature. St. Petersburg, gripped by winter, explodes with joyous news. The Tsar's abdication, a wave of jubilation sweeps through the snow-covered streets. As citizens celebrate the end of an era, smiles break out on faces, hope blossoming in the cold air as the city embraces change. The frosty sky echoes with cheers, a symphony of liberation resounding through the heart of Russia. Inside the Grand Hall, a palpable tension fills the air as the Duma gathers, faces grim with determination. Exhaustion etches deep lines on their faces, each member carrying the burden of a nation's uncertain future. Papers rustle like the whispers of history, each document a piece of the puzzle they must assemble. Hushed voices rise and fall, weaving a tapestry of urgency and solemn resolve. The weight of responsibility hangs heavy, a silent promise to rebuild from the ashes of the past. In this crucible of change, the Duma prepares to forge a new path, their spirits tested but unyielding. A haze of smoke hangs heavy, sweat and cheap tobacco filling the crowded workers' council. Workers in worn clothes huddle with soldiers in tattered uniforms, voices rising. Rough tables are packed tight, a symbol of unity against the odds. The air crackles with fervent discussion, challenging the old order. Determination etches deep lines on their faces, a desperate hope ignited. Soviets form in the smoky depths, a beacon of change in the dim light. Tension hangs heavy as rival factions collide in the city streets, a battle for dominance unfolding in broad daylight. The city echoes with the sounds of conflict as each side fiercely fights for control, their determination etched in every move. Each member locked in combat, their faces grim, the struggle for power turning the streets into a battleground. The air buzzes with intensity, the outcome uncertain as the clash escalates, impacting the city's rhythm. Cold daylight filters into the prison cell, revealing dust motes and the Tsar's family huddled in fear. Their faces are etched with resignation as they face their stark reality within the cell. The room's rough cots and table emphasize the family's fall from opulence. Their royal clothes, now stained, are a cruel reminder of their past glory. Each family member clings to one another, seeking solace in shared despair. The barred window serves as a constant reminder of their confinement and lost freedom. The provisional government office hums with tension, maps awash in coffee stains and cigarette burns on mahogany. Leaders huddle, their faces lined with worry, voices barely audible above the office's frantic pulse. Urgent whispers mix with the incessant ringing of telephones, each call a potential crisis. The air is thick with anxiety, the weight of a nation pressing down on weary shoulders. Every hurried footstep echoes the desperate search for solutions amidst mounting chaos. A weak spring sun illuminates the eastern front, a ravaged landscape bearing silent witness to the brutality of war. Weary Russian soldiers stand amidst discarded rifles, their faces etched with the haunting memories of battle. In a striking moment of humanity, smiles are exchanged, cigarettes shared, dissolving the lines of conflict. A fragile camaraderie blossoms amidst the devastation, a fleeting glimpse of hope in the war-torn land. In a sparsely lit room, Lenin paces, his figure a silhouette against stacks of pamphlets and revolutionary fervor. The dim light catches the intensity in Lenin's eyes, reflecting the fire of his unwavering conviction. He pauses, a storm of thoughts brewing beneath his furrowed brow, plotting his return. Lenin's hand flies across the page, outlining the spark of the Bolshevik Revolution with fervent energy. The oil lamp flickers, casting long shadows as Lenin immerses himself in the revolution's blueprint. The train's rhythmic clatter amplifies the tension as Lenin, disguised, blends among passengers. Sunlight illuminates dust motes dancing in the air, highlighting Lenin's concealed anxiety. Lenin glances nervously, aware of the monumental task ahead, his eyes filled with resolve. The blur of the European countryside rushes by, a silent witness to history in motion. Each revolution of the train wheel carries him closer to destiny. In this moment, Lenin is both an ordinary traveler and a force of change. Summer in St. Petersburg bathes the city in golden light as anticipation electrifies the air. Lenin arrives, stepping onto the platform to a roaring welcome. A sea of faces, a symphony of cheers. The crowd greets him, hope surging. The air vibrates with revolutionary fervor as Lenin acknowledges the ecstatic masses. Flickering candlelight illuminates Lenin's intense face in the Bolshevik headquarters. Maps of Petrograd sprawl across the wooden table, symbols of a revolution brewing. Spartan room filled with determined faces, lit by dim light and revolutionary fervor. Lenin gestures emphatically, his words igniting the passion of his comrades. Comrades, "The time for talk is over," Lenin declares, his voice sharp and resolute. "We must seize this opportunity," Lenin says, his eyes burning with conviction. The city pulses with life as Bolshevik agitators penetrate the crowd, their fervor a stark contrast to the daily grind. Voices amplify, spreading revolutionary ideas, vying for attention amid the city's cacophony. Crimson banners emblazoned with revolutionary slogans ripple in the wind. Each flutter fans the flames of discord and yearning for change. Tension fills the Winter Palace as the provisional government prepares for the approaching revolution. Documents are frantically packed, each crate holding years of imperial history and secrets. Flickering candlelight reveals faces etched with fear, their expressions a mix of dread and resolve. The distant rumble of revolution grows louder, a relentless threat to the palace's fragile calm. Every shadow seems to whisper of the impending Bolshevik assault, adding to the oppressive atmosphere. The weight of history and the uncertainty of the future hang heavy in the air. Under the cloak of night, the majestic Winter Palace looms, a symbol of fading power against the autumn sky. A surge of determined Bolshevik forces advances, their figures stark against the illuminated palace. The ground trembles as the assault intensifies, echoing with the cries of revolution and the thunder of change. Torches flicker, casting long, dancing shadows as the revolutionaries breach the palace gates. The storm of revolution engulfs the Winter Palace, marking a violent shift in the course of history. Gunshots rip through the Winter Palace, echoing off marble and gold. Bolsheviks and government troops clash in a brutal battle for control. Opulent chandeliers sway wildly, reflecting the chaos below. The palace, once a symbol of power, descends into a war zone. Ominous shadows fill the provisional government office as Bolshevik soldiers move with grim efficiency. Protests are stifled as government members are rounded up, their pleas lost in the echoing hall. Papers scatter, a stark reminder of interrupted plans and shattered hopes amidst the chaos. The sound of boots reverberates as arrested officials are led away, their fate uncertain in the night. Autumn winds swirl fallen leaves through St. Petersburg's streets, a city draped in crimson and gold. Red banners bearing the hammer and sickle ripple from every building, symbols of a revolution won. Weary soldiers stand guard, their faces etched with triumph and exhaustion after the fight. Citizens cautiously emerge, their eyes reflecting a mixture of hope and lingering fear. The air vibrates with the promise of change, hope, and trepidation hanging in the balance. Loudspeakers blast the Bolsheviks' victory, their words echoing the dawn of a new communist era. In the Kremlin's Grand Hall, Lenin stands, bathed in light, a figure of unwavering resolve. His commanding presence fills the podium, every gesture amplified by the hall's vastness. His voice resonates, a powerful force promising change and revolution to the masses. Peace, land, and bread, he proclaims, each word a hammer blow against the old order. The crowd responds, their faces alight with fervent hope, their eyes fixed on Lenin. A dim bulb flickers, shadows dancing on the cold prison walls. The Tsar sits wearily, his face gaunt in the pale light. His family huddles close, fear etched deeply on their faces as they await their unknown fate in oppressive silence. The Tsar's eyes, though weary, hold a glimmer of resolve as he looks at his family. The stone walls loom, a stark reminder of their confinement and the uncertainty that hangs heavy in the air. Each member of the family clings to each other, their shared fear creating a palpable bond in the dim cell. In a dimly lit room, smoke swirls. Figures cloaked in shadow gather around a rough-hewn table, their faces etched with grim resolve. Maps of Russia sprawl across the table, a silent witness to the weighty decision before the Bolshevik leaders. Half-empty glasses and overflowing ashtrays hint at the long hours and heavy burdens these leaders carry. The silence is broken only by coughs and rustling papers, each sound amplifying the tension in the room. The fate of the Tsar and his family hangs in the balance, a palpable weight pressing down on every soul present. Each leader grapples with the moral gravity, knowing their decision will irrevocably alter the course of history. Beneath a starless Yekaterinburg sky, the city slumbers, oblivious to the unfolding horror on its outskirts. In the dim glow, the ashen faces of the Tsar and his family reveal their dread in this desolate place. An air of chilling finality descends, each breath heavy with the weight of their sealed fate. The remote location becomes a stage for a clandestine execution, a grim secret under the cloak of night. A vast, snow-covered plain stretches under a gray sky, the Russian countryside in the grip of winter. Bare trees claw at the sky, their branches heavy with snow, stark silhouettes against the horizon. A lone, winding road cuts through the desolate landscape, a path into an uncertain future. The wind howls across the frozen land, a mournful dirge echoing the end of an era.